Hello and welcome to The Orient. I'm Eric Zhang. In recent years, there have been growing calls for the government to better protect animal rights in Hong Kong. In particular, some have suggested that Hong Kong should have its own animal police to better investigate cases of animal cruelty. In a minute, we'll be speaking to Claudia Mo inside the Legislative Council building. But first, we'd like to take you to the Hong Kong Dog Rescue Tai Po Homing Center, where hundreds of abandoned dogs are seeking shelter. Situated on a hilly area in Tai Po, the Hong Kong Dog Rescue Homing Center gives shelter to hundreds of abandoned dogs. These dogs come in different sizes and breeds, but they have one thing in common. They are all rescued and no longer face the possibility of being put down. Sid, who works for the NGO, says the organization hopes to take care of these dogs until they find a new home.
Hong Kong Dog Rescue was set up in 2003, and over the years we have rescued and rehomed more than 8,000 dogs. And we usually rescue these dogs from the AFCD. Once the dogs get into their kennels, they will be put to sleep in 4 days. And our role here is to step in and take the dogs out whenever we can.
Several gruesome cases of animal cruelty have caught widespread attention in Hong Kong in recent months. In April, the death of a dog sparked outrage after the owner deliberately threw it from the roof of a building. The dog was previously saved after it fell into the Victoria Harbour a week earlier. Responding to public pressure, the Hong Kong police recently announced plans to increase manpower to investigate animal abuse across the city. While appalling cases of animal cruelty often end up in the public limelight, pet abandonment is also a serious form of animal abuse. Sid says some owners may choose to abandon dogs when they move out of town or change to a new apartment that does not allow pets.
I guess one of the reasons why so many dogs get abandoned is because it's too easy to buy a dog. And the puppies, they cost maybe a few thousand, which is like not a lot. For some people, they may just get really impulsive and then they just buy the puppies without thinking of the lifelong commitment that comes with it. Captain!
As for Sid, she is hopeful that she can shine a light on the abandoned dogs, one at a time.
It's a lot of negativity going on here, seeing dogs, they have had something really terrible happening to them. They have been abandoned. But then we also try to remember that they are already the lucky ones. And what we are doing here is to make a difference, to changing these dogs' life.
So joining us right now is Claudia Mo, a lawmaker who has been very active in calling for greater protection of animal rights in Hong Kong. So Claudia, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So we visited the Hong Kong Dog Rescue Homing Center in Tai Po, and we saw that there are hundreds of abandoned dogs seeking shelter in the center. When it comes to animal rights in Hong Kong, which types of pets do you think are most vulnerable?
I think our dogs must be the most vulnerable because when it comes to dogs and cats, they're not just pets. They are animals to start with, and yet they are family members. But people think, oh, well, they're just beasts, the creatures, right? Just get rid of them. You can't, because especially with dogs and cats, it's humans, who have them with us for thousands of years. They have nowhere to go, minus the humans. Dogs, hundreds of them, waiting for a new home, each of them. And what's Hong Kong's dog adoption policy? Nearly half, if not more, of Hong Kong's population live in public housing flats. And public housing flats do not allow the keeping of dogs for public hygiene, for anti-noise measures and so on. It's just not right.
I think that the Hong Kong Police Force actually released a figure recently, over the past few months, that in 2017 there are a total of 80 cases of animal abuse, which was actually 11 more cases than the whole year of 2016. But apparently it seems that more and more people are getting aware of the issue of animal rights in Hong Kong. Do you think, do you think the situation is actually getting worse recently or getting better?
I wouldn't say it's getting better or worse. It's about the same. I think Hong Kong's a compact society, and you just don't like people going a bit curious on the top floor and the top story. And it's bound to happen, but it happens in any society, except that in Hong Kong we still have this very deeply rooted Chinese thinking, and that is, so what? Yes, that person was unkind to a dog or a cat, right? But just beasts, just animals.
Right.
It's not a human being, so never mind. Somehow animals are just either for consumption or consumption as well, fur and all that,
Right.
or they're just lowly the creatures that don't need any extra attention from the humans. It's still there, but of course I still need to say in the last 10 years, with more and more animal rights campaigners in Hong Kong, more and more Hong Kong people are paying attention to not just animal welfare, but animal rights.
Well, from time to time, we do hear cases of animal abuse in Hong Kong, gruesome cases especially. There are sometimes reports of many pets being kept in a very, very small area. Who do you think is responsible for this problem? Do you think it's a lack of awareness among pet owners, or do you think it's also because of a lack of legislation in Hong Kong?
It's a bit of both. The question of the awareness, right? I think it can go back to the Chinese traditional, conventional mentality that just animals, what's the big deal, right? But lack of legislation, of course. We don't have an animals, or let's take it, welfare law in Hong Kong. We have bits of laws, we have a plethora of legislation, legislative mechanisms, this and that and the other. It's all very confusing, and simply nobody cares. Right. I had a face-to-face meeting with Carrie Lam when she first took office last year, and I'm not supposed to quote her, but the impression she gave me is, oh please, I've got enough on my plate. You're talking about animal rights, or she just couldn't cope, and there's no way Hong Kong will have any proper animal legislation.
So my final question to you is,
yeah.
In the most ideal world, what kind of relationship do you envision between humans and animals in Hong Kong?
Well, when you talk about animals, I mean, of course, we are talking about pigs and buffaloes and things as well, right? And let's just be as natural as possible. And when it comes to domesticated animals, including dogs and cats, obviously, I think we should also stay as natural as possible. I don't like, it's a personal choice, I suppose. I don't like people doing little ribbons on their puppies' heads, or making them wear clothes. Maybe if it's just for the fun of Halloween, fine, okay, but not on a daily basis. We're going out, little puppy, and let's choose what's our street clothes should be today. Oh, Jesus. Please do not unnecessarily, you don't humanize dogs. I mean, I know we need to humanize some of them by training them to be guide dogs and police dogs and whatever, right? Disaster help kind of dogs. But everything up to a point. I think let's just keep things as natural as possible.
Right, so thank you very much, Claudia. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for your time.
Thank you.
So thank you for watching. I'm Eric Cheung. See you next time.